Hello and welcome to the Nash Tackle Off the Hook podcast. Just to make you aware, this podcast may contain some explicit/offensive language, and if that's not your thing, you don't have to listen, but I have given you a warning. I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
You don't know the half of it, but anyway. I'm skating on the thinnest ice known to man.
He said, and they put a poison in the tank that just instantly kills them. He went and we'd run out of it, so we cut their heads off with shovels.
Suddenly, bang! The whole boat exploded.
Take your sort of 8-inch long piranha and imagine that at 4, 5, maybe 6 feet.
I said, I've revived your dead fish. F off, he said. You haven't.
That was just humongous. It was... I couldn't believe what I was looking at.
I'm just battling this fish out in the pond. I know it's a black man. I'm saying I'll never be a naughty boy again.
If you catch fish and you return them to the water, then you are my brother.
Sir Pete Springate.
Who's he?
Welcome to the podcast, mate. How are you?
I'm all right. Very well, thank you.
I don't think I'd genuinely be in this position right here in this career if it wasn't for your founding father of the carp scene work, mate. So thank you for that too.
Oh.
You've caught a few. You've bought some security as well in here. I've always given you a bit of a sun's reception.
It's me minder.
You need him for me, mate. Yeah. You might notice in the wide camera angle there's a pair of absolutely colossal defined quads. Yeah, mate, you got your mate here, so I can't kick off too much. We'll keep it very PC. How have you been recently, mate? Have you been out doing it? Have you been busy?
Yeah, I was out all last week for about, 7 or 8 days. Fished a couple of lakes that are well off the beaten track and off the radar with some beautiful fishing. I didn't do too good this year, but last year I'd done all right. I had some nice 30-pounders. And the good thing about them is none of them have got names, you know, and no phone signal, nothing. It's a
proper bit of angling. Well, you've certainly done an awful lot of proper angling over the course of the years, mate, and we're going to talk through sort of significant chapters. We could be talking for the rest of the day, really, mate, but there's been so much. I wanted to start, and I know there's an iconic shot really that resonates with me, but sort of even back before that, your first £20 carp, give me an idea as to what year and how that came to be. Nowadays, a 20-pounder is still a milestone fish, but you caught them, mate.
Yeah, no, that was a 21-pound 6-ounce common that I caught in the night, about 10:30 at night. Freezing cold winter's night, January the 26th, I think it was.
What year?
It was year 1974, something like that.
1974, mate.
And that was at Longfield, Fox Pool. And I was the only one, well, there was no one winter fishing it, and I fished it all through the winter. And that particular day, my mate, who I used to fish with, Kenny Odder, decided he was going to fish the River Thames, which run not far from Foxpool. And he went and fished the Thames. And then that evening, or late afternoon, he come round and said he was going to set his bivvy up next to me. And he set his bivvy up, didn't fish, because he was going to go back to the river in the morning. And we were sitting there chatting. And as I say, about 10:30 at night, my rod went off with me homemade sausage meat bait. Ooh. And turned out to be a pot of gold. Absolutely brilliant. You know, a fantastic fish. And the thing was, I had like my little camera, which was like a brownie camera. Didn't have no film or nothing. So it's Sunday morning, I had to go in to Datchet, find the chemist open. And I managed to get a film with, just got 12 photos of a roll of film, like. So went back to the lake and we reeled off the whole 12 photos. And Kenny, of course, had to have his photo taken holding it as well. Like, you know, yeah. And, that was...
That's monumental, mate. Back in the 70s, that's a big fish. Well, regardless, but in the 70s, that's massive.
Yeah. But, so that was it, yeah.
What a start. From there, I think there's a lot of shots that you're infamous for, and we're going to come to a couple of them with regards to that. But I think the Yoeveney bracer carp has to be, when you look back at all the sort of carpy shots throughout history, and various people have done it. You've got Subsurface that have done it. You've got sort of, Monkey Climber even, that are Forum magazine, that look back at those iconic shots. That is one of them, mate. That Yoeveney bracer carp, incredible. Absolutely incredible.
It's just fortunate the way that photo came out, because, well, again, there was no one fishing the lake. It was about 70 odd acres.
How'd you hear about this in the first place? Was it?
No. I mean, I started off fishing at Wraysbury in '67, tench fishing, and then got to sort of found a little lake. Me and my mate Johnny Perkins, we found a little lake with a few carp in, and we decided we'd have a go. And we caught a couple of carp. From then on, we was after carp, And then we heard about Darrenth having a lot of fishing, and we went and fished Darrenth. And in them days, I mean, we was catching sort of, some of them weren't even double figure fish,
Yeah.
And then I went back because I joined the BCSG, the British Carp Study Group, and I heard about Yoeveney, a little lake at Yoeveney, where Tom Mindrum and a few of them were fishing at the time, and it was all free line.
Yeah.
There was no carp rigs or anything then. And started fishing on there, and it was known as a good 20s waters in the day. Johnny Carver was fishing there. There was a few of them, And the geezer said to me he'd done 40 nights and hadn't caught nothing, Anyway, then I went off back down to Darrenth, and then I remembered about it. And to cut the long story short, one, because you had a close season, me and Kenny used to go round, and Johnny Perkins go round looking at lakes to see what we could see, And someone said to me that they thought that the carp in the little Yoeveney had gone through up a stream into this big Yoeveney, which I saw them land. They were still digging it when I was fishing the little one,
right?
And I saw them landscaping it, and I thought, nah, they couldn't have got through there, And I went and had a look at this stream, and it was just sort of dried up. But then I realised that when I was going pike fishing over at Kingsmead one winter, the whole of Wraysbury was flooded because it was coming in the doors, and I had a little marina van, and it was coming in through the doors, And I thought that would be the time that they got through. So that close season, we went and had a look all round Wraysbury, looked round Longfield, and then I said to me mate Kent, I said, let's go and have a look at that Yoeveney, And we went on there, and we walked onto it, and the next thing, a diver popped up out of the water, Hello, I said to him, have you seen anything? He said, all I keep seeing is these little fleasies going, and it was absolutely full of Daphne.
Was it?
And it was unbelievable, And we walked along this bank, and we'd gone, I don't know, halfway up the bank, up this lake, come to some little willow bushes, and there was a couple of bars out from, and I see this carp, and I said to Ken, that's a 30-pounder. And we couldn't believe it, And so then we decided that we'd been baiting up, I don't know who it was bait. I think we'd been baiting up Longfield and Yateley, and we decided that after we'd fished at Longfield, we'd go on to there, So that's how I got to get on there.
So you'd seen one fish show in that bigger lake?
I saw one fish, and that was enough to get me on there. And we went on there. When we did go on there, we started off where these willows were, hid ourselves in the willows because you weren't supposed to fish it. It wasn't on the ticket. And what we noticed, that down the bottom end, it was full of bloody coots and ducks. And if anybody walked on the bank, they were squawking. So we knew if anyone was around, like, you know. And we fished, I think the first night we done in this, there was like a couple of little bars out from us. I had an 18-pounder, black as the Ace of Spades was. And so I was over the moon. And then, I don't know whether it was a week or so after, but Kenny managed to catch one, which turned out, at the time, it didn't have a name or nothing, but now it was known as shoulders, you know, a 21 pound or something. It was a 20 anyway. And we kept on there sort of through the season. And then walking round one day, I spotted all these carp in a weed bed up the top end of the lake. And none of them looked over 20 pound, like, you know.
Right.
But I put out a load of bits of floater and they didn't show any interest. But I think one might have taken one little bit. But anyway, my mate was going off to Somerset to fish with John because he'd moved down to Somerset. So I thought myself, I'll take the opportunity and try and get round onto the other bank where the wind had been blowing for weeks, like. And got round there. I had to park my van miles from where I went. It took me ages. Anyway, I fished there and I had a 24 pound mirror. Wow. Absolutely mint it was. And it took me round into this bay and I had to fight my way round through these little willow saplings and everything and got round there and then realised that I'd left my net.
Oh, no.
And anyway, I managed to get it in, and it was all the swede in it, and I managed to get my arms underneath it, and I lifted it out, and I thought, oh, that's all right. Got it out, I looked at it, took it up the bank, and I thought to myself, well, how am I going to take a photo? I didn't, and lucky enough, a bird watcher come walking along. So I said to him, can you take me a photo, mate? And he took a few photos for me, but I'm like miles in the distance, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was well made up with that. And then I went back. My mate Ken, he was down in Somerset for a while because he had a bobbin went in his eye, bottle top, like, and he was in hospital and all sorts, like. So he was down there. And I went back and the amount of carp I see fucking rolling and crashing was unbelievable. So I was dead keen, and he came back from Somerset, and I told him what I'd seen, and I had this fish, and I was expecting him to be there when I got there, and I got down there, and he wasn't nowhere to be seen, and well, to cut a long story short, I caught the brace of 30s that sort of night. Oh, and in the meantime, I'd had my van broken into, load of stuff nicked out of my van.
No.
So I found another place to park, which was, I had to go through a farm, through the farmyard, over a level crossing, over the railway, and there was a big barn. And I fucking parked my car
in the barn?
In this barn, yeah, on the lake, like, you know. Van, not car, van. And anyway, I caught the first fish, which was a 36.
Was that in the night you said you had your bite, yeah? You freelining, it's in the night you had your bite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's about 7:30 at night, 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. It just got dark and whatever. And the weekend before, I'd seen all these fish rolling, and they were unbelievable. I'd never seen fish like it or as big. Like, yeah. So I was dead keen. I told Kenny all about it. Got back there that weekend, and he wasn't there. I thought he'd be there, like.
Yeah.
And anyway, I sort of set myself up, and as I say, about 7:30, 8 o'clock, I got this take, played this fish, and it was, I'm not kidding you, I can still picture it now. The rod was bent over. The fucking handle was creaking, like, you know. And I can't remember what rods I was using. But anyway, it got into the... Oh, that's right. The weed beds had come up, and there was like big rafts of weeds floating on the wind, like, and it had got into one of these, like. And anyway, I played it and fucking inch at a time sort of thing. Got it all the way back. I didn't even know whether it was still on, like, in the end.
Yeah.
And then I see it, and I thought, fucking hell. And I got me net, which I thought was the fish was in the weed. I lifted it, and the fish was still out further. And I was panicking, and I was clearing off the bloody weed, like from the net and the line and everything. And I could feel the line grating as it went back out, like. And by this time, I'd seen the size of this fish, and I thought, Christ almighty, if I lose this, no one's ever going to believe me, like, you know. And eventually got it in, and I managed to get it into the net, and I staggered up the bank with it, and my big scours that were in my van I'd taken out because of it got broken into me.
Okay.
And anyway, I thought myself, well, all I can do, I tried it on the old Avon scours, and it went bonk. I thought, Jesus Christ, like, and I sacked it up, and I thought myself, the only thing I can do is go up to the pub and phone, see if old Kenny could come down, like, because I was expecting him to be there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I go out to the pub, and I walked in, and I'm shaking, and I'm rolling the fare. I asked her for a pint of beer, like, and I see this phone on the other side of the counter. Like, I said, can I use your phone? And she brought the phone over, like. Anyway, I phoned up Ken's house, and his mum's answered. She said, oh, he's out playing darts. I said, oh, well, tell him I've caught a big fish, like, and I'd like him to come and photograph it for me. So she said, all right then. So then I phoned my dad up about if he could go to my place and get me scours and all that and bring them there. Anyway, it was a couple of hours later that me mum, my dad and me other half come down, and me and my dad weighed it up, and it was 36.5 pounds. And I thought, Jesus Christ, like, you know, and put it in the sack. They've gone off, and I was a bit worried about it. I had 2 bank sticks holding it sort of upright because it kept going over.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought, so I might have to let this go, like, but then it settled. And then a little while later, the fucking other rod's gone, and that was, I couldn't weigh that one at the time. I tried, and it kept hovering around the 40-pound mark, like, you know. And anyway, I thought myself, I hope Ken comes down in the morning, like, and about 9 o'clock, 9:30, he turned up. And he said, man, how big is it? How big is it? I said, well, which one are you talking about? He said, what? I said, well, I've got 2. I said, one's 36.5. I said, I don't know how big the other one is. I said, it's bigger. So we weighed that one, and we called it 38.5 because it was hovering around between that and 39 pounds. And anyway, that was it. We took the photos and stayed on. We fished there for the rest of that was in October time, and we fished there right up to December. Never had another bite. And I thought, so I'll keep it quiet because we're going to fucking come back here. And then I found out they was going to put the motorway through. So I went and got all the plans about the motorway and all that. And that was the end of it, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, what a time. Goosebumps, mate, for me, that, because it is just ridiculous. What year is this? Give me the year again.
It's 78.
78. That is ridiculous size fish for that time. Now, that is, I mean, I don't even know what that is. That's like a 70-pounder, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, unbelievable. It was, yeah.
That is outrageous.
Yeah.
For you, and you sort of, when you were talking preceding this, you skipped through chapters around Darrenth, around Wraysbury, and we're going to come and revisit for some of them. But for you, that sort of your quest, if you like, for carp, was it was it always something that sort of was within you? What was it about that quest or those fish that really sort of inspired you? Because there's no influence at this time from a scene, really. It's just within you that wants to do it. There's not other people like the whole media side of thing or anything like that.
It was all new, like, you know, it just got to you. You know what I mean? It was like, if you wanted anything, you had to travel to find anything. You had to go to different places, like buzzers. I started trying to make my own buzzer, like, you know, getting circuits and bits and pieces, going to radio shops and things like that. And then it was like Dons of Edmonton. They were the only people that done a decent landing net, like, you know. I went over there and got myself a springbow landing net, like, you know.
Yeah.
And you travelled all over the place to sussed out little bits and pieces. And it was good fun because it was all new, and it was good. Yeah. Like even bait, trying to suss out bait, you know, because I met Fred at Darren, Fred Wilton, yeah. And he told me about his sort of bait as such. It didn't tell me the ingredients as such, but he told me about all these different flavours and whatever. And it was trying to suss, you know what I mean? It was all new, so it was all you know, it was just magical, really.
Yeah, captivating, and it's all fresh.
Yeah.
That Yoeveney, do you think there was bigger in that lake?
There was one big lever.
Was there?
Yeah. Which was 38 to 40 pound, you know. But I couldn't believe the amount of fish they pulled out of there in the end, you know. But yeah, because most of them went into Longfield.
Yep.
And a lot of them went into Wraysbury in the end because they put far too many into Longfield.
Did they?
Yeah.
What could have been, mate, if that carried on?
Oh, yeah.
Mad. From not only have you obviously there two incredible captures back to back and in terms of size of fish, but you were also very akin to catching sort of numbers of fish as well, weren't you, mate? Were you the second person to catch, like, was it 100?
100 double,
100 doubles, wasn't it?
Doubles, yeah, that was at Darrenf, yeah. That was in the year with the drought, 1970, I forget what year that was now, 75, something like that, 76.
That is early. How were you catching those, mate? All free lining again, quite short range?
A lot of it was free lining, yeah.
On top as well?
Not so much. I did have a few off the top, funny enough, in the long pond. Because funny enough, we got into high protein bait at the time. We called it high protein bait because Fred was fishing on there. There was Bob Morris, fucking anyone who was anybody was fishing on Darren, like, you know. So I got to know them all. And Ian Booker, he put us onto the old Robin Red.
Yeah.
And so me and Kenny, we made up some floater cake, like, you know, and we had a few on the old floaters, like, especially out of the Long Pond.
Yeah.
That was on there. And, no, I won't go into that story because it's just something coming to my mind then. But let's say someone said they caught a 30-pound lever, and funny enough, someone caught it at 28 pound before him, and I caught it a couple of weeks or a week after him, and it was still 28 pound. But according to this particular person, it was 30 pound.
Some special scales.
Yeah, but that was on floater cake, like, you know, making floater cake at Darth. But no, it was all. Went there because it was a learning curve, like, you know, anyone who was anybody was fishing it.
That was the hotbed, wasn't it, Darren?
Yeah,
100%.
Oh, Les Bamford was on there. It was all on there, like, and we all got on well together.
I was going to say, what was the social scene like? Was it good, lively?
Yeah, well, we didn't used to socialise as such, like what you do nowadays, like, you know, because I suppose it was all new and we was all keen, like, you know what I mean. But, yeah, no, it was good.
Some incredible days, mate. Ridiculous.
I mean, it was the year of the hot summer because the River Darent dried up, and I was walking along the bed of the river to get to the swim, like, you know. Yeah.
What a start, mate. From there to Yoeveney, that record brace at the time that you obviously had that we talked about, on to sort of ridiculous chapters. Like we'll move on to sort of, I think, probably in my time, a place that's been very well publicised through Terry Earn, probably. But Yateley, mate. Yateley.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You were on there, you caught everything pretty much, but when it was not, or maybe didn't have the magnitude of the 40s, 50s, etc.
Oh, no, that's right.
How did you then find yourself on Yateley? You said you were baiting it up.
Because we had a close season.
Yeah.
So I joined RMC that had Darent, Wraysbury, Yateley. And so he had the close season, so we went round looking. And I went on to Yateley, and we was walking around Yateley one weekend, and I see what I now know as Basil in the North Lake. And I said to Kenny, fucking hell, have a look at this. You know, and we knew straight away it was a 30-pound carp, like. And we put it on the back burner because we was fishing, or wherever, I forget where we was fishing, probably might have been Yoeveney or whatever, Longfield. And anyway, the following year, we've gone on round Yateley again, see the fish again, and I said to him, I would have a go on this season. Like. And funny enough, that's when I met Robin Dix, because he was walking around, like, you know, and he lived right there. But, so there was also a bloke called Alan Wilson who used to catch the big tench and whatever. He was on there from Blackpool, and he was on there for 3 weeks to start the season, like, you know. And anyway, we went on there, and as luck had it, I managed to catch Basil at 30-something, 30. I thought I'd put it at £35.
This is just looking at it, you put it at £35, yeah?
And when I caught it, it was 31.5 or something like that, but it spawned. And when I caught it, I lifted it up and it was hollow.
Yeah.
And I was getting all this milk all over me, like, you know. And I caught it on a little bit of floater, just popped up off the bottom.
Did you?
Yeah.
How far popped up off the bottom?
Only a couple of inches. Yeah. In a clear spot of, you know, sealed the weed and that. And I watched this fish. It come round in Ireland, and it done it a couple of times, like come to the same sort of spot. And I put my floater there, just off the bottom, because I thought myself, well, he ain't going to come up to the top, like, he might take it off, and boom, he took it, and that was it.
Was that the first time you'd popped something up like that, or had you done that before?
Yeah.
That just came into your head and you thought,
yeah,
proper natural angling.
But, because I watched him a few times, and he wasn't looking at, you know, on the surface, like, he was going along sort of just above the bottom, like, and I thought, if I put a bait and it's just showing, like, he might fucking have it, and he did.
What was that scrap like? Wheat, like? Again?
Oh, yeah, that was, fucking, yeah. And that was, I forget what year that was now, but, so I had that, and then, because we was fishing on the North Lake then, that was it. We'd gone back a couple of weeks later, and Kenny was already up on the North Lake, and I went, 2 years before that, I used to tench fish there.
That's how you started a lot of these waters.
Yeah.
Tenching, weren't you?
Yeah. And I met the bailiff, the head bailiff at the time on there, and he had a Rover car, similar to a car that I had back in the 60s, like, you know, and I used to chat to him, and he was a nice old boy, like. And, but anyway, this particular weekend, Kenny was up on the North Lake, and I took some gear because we didn't have barriers or nothing. Then we used to hump it. I took me stuff up there, left it with him, went back to the van to get whatever. And as I was going back to the van, I see this fucking big fish. And straight away, I knew it was a 40-pound carp. And it was in the car park lake in amongst the weed. So I've gone back to my van, got some floater cake. I've gone back to where I saw it, and I fired out some floater cake. And he come up and took a couple of bits like, and I thought, fucking hell. So I fucking run up to the North Lake. I said, Ken. He said, what? I said, fuck me, mate. I said, we're going on to the fucking car park. I said, I've fucking seen a fish. I said, it's got to be 40 pound. He said, nah. I said, it fucking is, mate. I said, come and have a look. So anyway, we've gone running back there. And as I got into the spot, I could see it just start going out. And I said, King, look. I don't think he really saw it, like, you know.
Right.
But anyway, in my own mind, I said to him, that's 40 pound. So we went back to the North Lake, got all our gear, moved down onto the car park lake, like, and then we started fishing there. And every morning I used to walk round looking for it, and eventually I found it up the causeway between the North Lake and the south, the car park lake.
Yep.
I said to him, I went back, I said, Ken, it's up the fucking top, mate. I said, get a rod, we'll go up there. So we've both gone up there, and I've gone along the bank, and there it was. There was a long bar, and he was this side of the bar, and there was like gorse bushes, and I've got in one side, Kenny's got in the other side. We fired out a couple of bits of floater cake and put out, and then I don't know whether someone come round, but I'm sure a geezer in a white shirt come round, and he must have spooked it, like, and then it came back again, but this time it was closer to where Kenny had his bait, like, you know, a bit of floater, and then I see it take Ken's bait, and I thought, oh, fucking hell, he's caught. So I've gone fucking running, because I couldn't see Ken because of the gorse bush and everything.
Yeah.
I've gone running across, around, and there's Ken on his back, fucking down, right up in the air, like. I said, fucking hell, Ken. He said, I said, I know you bloody are. I said, it's the big one. And anyway, he got up, managed to get up, and we fucking got it in. It didn't really fight, like, it just waddled about, like. And I netted it for him. And I said, that's the fucking fish, kid. And we weighed it up, and I think it's 42 pounds.
Jeez.
Yeah. And
that is colossal, mate, isn't it?
Oh, it was, yeah. That was 78, I think, 1978, something like that. I can't remember now.
But you've really got absolutely no... I'm trying to think of it in a modern-day context. For us, we've got a reference point to most weights of fish, really. But you ain't got any real reference at all, have you?
No.
That's the first one ever, like, you know what I mean?
And anyway, we've got it out, we weighed it and whatever, took the photographs for him. And so I thought to myself, I'm going to spend the rest of the season on here and try and catch it. And I caught another lever that was in there, a small lever. I didn't, that year, I don't think I didn't catch what they called ever the lever again. But I spent all season, well, the rest of the summer on there, because I thought to myself, because I thought to myself, it won't be around next year, like, you know.
Why do you think that?
Because it was like spawn bound.
Right, okay.
You know, it was really, you know, and it was just the fact that I wanted to catch a 40-pounder, like, you know what I mean? Anyway, I did spend the rest of that summer on there, and I think I might have hooked it. I know I hooked a fish that I thought was it, and it went the other side of the bar and fucking cut me off, like, you know.
Yeah.
But then, as I say, I spent all that summer I never saw it again. Never hooked it. And I knew in my own mind it wouldn't be there the next season because of the way it was. And I went back in that close season looking, never saw it. Like, and a couple of people reckon they saw it, but I don't think they did. But yeah.
You did catch Heather, but at like £20, didn't you?
Yeah, that I caught that with Richie.
With Richie McDonald?
Yeah, I took Richie. Richie said he wanted to go and fish there, like, because I'd been fishing with Richie, like, at Wraysbury and Darren, not Darren. We did take him to Darren, but that's another story. I'd fished with him at Longfield and Wraysbury and whatever. Anyway, he said to me, the cons, we fished the cons together, like. And he said to me, he fancied having a go at Yateley. So we've gone to Yateley and I said to him, fished. I can't remember whether we fished on the north or the south on the car park, but I know this particular day I'm trying with the old floater in the car park lake near where Kenny caught the 42, and I see the lever, and I put out a floater, and I caught it like
straight in, yeah.
And it weren't that quick, like, but I caught it, and of course Richie took the photos and whatever, and I think it was Dixie that called it ever the lever or something like that. And but funny enough, Richie didn't like it there. He said, too many people here for me. He's going.
Was it busy? Was it even at your time?
There was people walking about because they had heard about the 42, like, and so there was a lot of people looking, and he said, fuck it, I can't be doing all these. So, and but it was a few years later he went back, and then he had Basil and whatever, Well, that was the one I had out of the North Lake, but obviously at the time it never had a name,
no,
like,
of course not. Yeah. That's mad to think you had it before it was Basil. Yeah. That is crazy. But that's a fact. That's a sort of a feature of your angling a lot of the time, is that you've had everything pretty much, but you've also had everything before the sort of hypes kicked in. Haven't you?
Yeah.
You always were quite well connected. Like, you're always onto something pretty early. Yeah. Was there a lot that in that sense? Was there a lot of unknowns, but you'd invest time in that. You go for looks round.
Yeah, that was the thing. You had the close season, so you could walk around looking at these different waters, and it's like Wraysbury. I see a fish in there that I thought was over £50, one of the close seasons, like, and who was it? Nick West. He had a 40 something out of there on a bit of bread crust. From Sonning Corner, and I'd seen that fish, big sandy, long sandy, and it was nothing like this other one I saw. And I tell you who saw it also was a guy called Colin Swaden, and he had seen it, and it had to be, I thought it was going to be Yates's record, like.
Yeah? But, you thought it was going to be bigger than that?
Yeah.
What was Yates's
51, or something, yeah. And this was fucking unbelievable. But I think it died. It must have died, like, because it never got caught, like. So
let's go to Wraysbury, mate. I've got a ticket there now on the south, mate. I fish it, and it is synonymous with incredible carp, but an era whereby a lot of sort of carp fishing spiraled from. You got on there very early. Tench fishing is what you used to do up there, didn't you?
As I say, I got in there in 67 when they first opened it up.
67.
It was at Hall & Co. Started up fishing on there. It was 5 guineas, I think, for Darren, Wraysbury, and there's a couple of other waters that they had. And went on there tench fishing, and I got photos of me with a little old rod fucking like a matchman, like, you know what I mean? But no, it was just, and it was just something about it. You know, it was. I couldn't believe the size of the water to start with.
Yeah.
But
well, you had it when both were joined together, mate. It's a big old sheet of water, mate. It's proper, and there weren't nice manicured swims and stuff. It must have been pretty difficult just to get around a bit of bank space.
It was, yeah. Well, the first year it was mega difficult, but the second year they landscaped it all.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. They took trees out, planted trees. I did have an article. I lost that. I don't know what happened to that, where they done a big spread of what they had done, like, you know. And I couldn't believe it the second year when we went back, because it was just manicured lawns, like, you know. Unreal.
Tench-wise, obviously, he's got a good. He did the British Carp, the British Tench record. So it's got, that water itself has got an incredible richness with regards to the carp, the tench, and everything. Pretty much that swims in there, doesn't it? They do pretty well in there.
Oh yeah.
The difference between you going tench fishing and then you coming back to actually carp fishing, what's the difference in time there, mate?
It was a few years, not, you know,
a ridiculously long time there, wasn't it?
Let's say it was 67 when I first went on there, because that's when I opened it up. I suppose I started carp fishing on there, or had to go for the carp. Oh, I'll tell you when it was. They opened it up as a special experiment, they called it. They opened it up during the close season. I'll tell you when, because I joined Hoover that year.
So you're working at Hoover, yeah?
Yeah, I joined Hoover washing machines in 73, and I had to go on a course, and it was in the fucking close season. So I thought, that's all right. But then I found out that they had opened Wraysbury up for the fishing in the close season. And I went on this course, and then I come back, sort of, I don't know, about May time. And so I went, it was a bank holiday in May bank holiday probably.
Yeah.
Went there for the whole weekend, 4 days or whatever it was. And because I joined Hoover and been away up north doing a course for fucking 6 weeks, whatever it was, when I got back, they said I'd have to go out with another engineer, just show me around. And it was, I went round this bloke's house, see all these fishing papers, and it was Kenny Odder. And that's when I met Ken,
What
see.
a touch that is.
And he was a matchman.
Yeah.
And we started chatting about, I said, well, at the weekend, I'm going over to Wraysbury to fish. He said, Wraysbury? He said, where's that? And I told him. So anyway, I've gone there, and so I was going out with this girl at the time, and I'd bought myself a little motor caravan. So I'd gone on there, set up got my motor caravan parked up. She's in there cooking and sleeping, whatever she's doing. And I've got out fishing. And he came over, knocked on the door, like, her name was Sue. He said, is Peter back? She said, oh no, he's down the bank fishing, like, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I might have been asleep. I didn't see him anyway, but he set up where he was going to fish. And anyway, when I did see him, I said, there's a carp down there, like,
the old sunken carp.
And anyway, that was then. But it was either that weekend or the weekend, I'm sure it was probably that weekend, I see all these carp spawning in one of the Finger Bays, like, and bloody hell was there some carp. I couldn't believe it, like, they were thrashing about. They fucking ripped these weed beds to bits, like, you know.
How many did you see?
There was probably about 20 carp.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that was a lot at the time.
Crazy.
And I got some bread. Fucking, I'm trying floating bread, like, never got it. I didn't want to know, like, you know, but it stuck in my mind about them. And it was a couple of years later that I went back and started fishing for them, like, you know.
At this point, when you go back on that water, how are you thinking to fish for them? Like, are you trying to go and see them and find them, or are you staying in a certain area?
I used to walk around a lot, but you never knew whether to go in the North Lake or the South Lake. But what I did find, after fishing it for a while, you got to know, it was like a tench. Now, there's an example. I met a couple of blokes. One was a grave digger and I forget the other one. But anyway, there was only 2 or 3 of us tench fishing on there in the very early days, like. And I soon realised that if I was in Welly Road, where the off licence used to be, if I was that bank, that would be the bank in the morning, and then late afternoon, you want to be on Douglas Lane. That's for tench,
right?
You know, and I knew that he moved about quite a bit. Well, with the carp, I'm trying to think now. I used to. You've got to know different spots, like, you know, different areas that produced and different areas that didn't produce. Not that I caught that many carp out of there at the time, but it was all learning. And, you know, I'd been used to fishing without catching anything because I'd been fishing on the London reservoirs for roach and whatever, years before. So it was just...
it's almost what you're used to, isn't it?
Yeah.
That sort of difficult.
I mean, in the end, me and Kenny, I managed to get hold of some walkie-talkies. And we used to, you know, we'd set up, he'd be on one lake, like the North Lake, I'd be on the south, and keep in touch. Oh, I'm just going over to have a look at Wraysbury 2, like, you know, and he'd walk around Wraysbury 2 and tell me what he'd seen and whatever. And that's how we sort of done it, like, you know.
That 50-pounder that you think you saw, in terms of anything else when you saw them spawning that first time, did you see
no, I didn't see nothing like
that.
I mean, at the time, I looked at them and I thought they was 20-pound carp, like, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Not that I'd seen a 20-pound carp then, but
yeah.
Oh, I might have done. I might have Longfield. Yeah, I might have had that one, but I can't remember. No, because that was 70. No, it's probably a year after I had the 20 out of Longfield.
Yeah, but you ain't seen many with regards to that size, and there's a good concentration. Well, I say a good concentration by modern day standards, not a very good concentration. Only 20 of them. You're angling on there. Obviously, you're talking about a big sheet of water. You're talking about getting back. You've also got, I mean, inherently with the area at the time, quite a lot of interesting characters and security potential issues, mate. That must have been a nightmare.
When I first went on there, I could have left all my gear for weeks. And nobody would have touched it, you know. But as time progressed, or years progressed, then you started getting the yobs coming over, the Jippo boys and all that, and it just became a nightmare in the end. I mean, I was hiding half my stuff in the bushes before I could go down to the shops to get a pint of milk or something, like, you know.
Really?
It was,
Any trouble personally? Any challenges?
No,
I
didn't get any trouble myself.
Yeah.
But you always, I mean, one weekend I felt a bit dubious when they nicked a couple of speedboats from the yacht club and they was racing around the lakes, and when they done with that, they set fire to them, and one of them fucking caught me lines, and I thought, fucking hell, like, you know.
As if this place ain't hard enough. Do you know what I mean? But, in that place, you obviously, you caught Mary in a sort of 3 occasions, but that first meeting, if you like, or that first capture, talk to me about how that all played out.
Well, that played out because by then I was down in, what's the name of it? Not Cornwall. Oh, down the West Country. I was fishing a place called Sonning Reservoir,
right,
with my mate Johnny Perkins, and I was telling him that I'd seen this fish in Wraysbury that I thought was £45. And I'd never seen it before, like. And I'd even had it feeding, taking floaters during the close season. It was just unreal. I had a bag of floater cake cut up into bits, and it fucking took the whole lot. And I climbed out over the water on a tree, and I could see every fucking thing. And I see these scours on its thing, and I told him all about it. And it was at the start of the season when I was down there, and I said to him, "I've got to get back because I want to get back to Wraysbury because of this fish I'd seen." Anyway, by the time I got back to Wraysbury, oh no, that was the year after. No. Yeah, we'll get it. Yeah. When I got back to Wraysbury, there was all these blokes fishing that had come down from Yorkshire.
Yorkshire?
Yeah, because they had heard about the fishing in Wraysbury. Like,
that's some network, mate,
yeah.
isn't it?
And I thought, Christ almighty, like I couldn't believe it when I pulled into the car park. And lucky enough, I knew one of them, which was Richard Skidmore. And I was chatting to him, like, and he said, "Oh, there's been this out. There's been 3 or 4 fish out." And this is like June the 17th, and it only opened on the 16th, like, and I thought, oh, Jesus Christ, I hope the one I saw ain't come out. And anyway, he said to me, there'd been 4 fish out, and he named them or told me. And I said to him, well, I've seen one, and I told him exactly what I'd seen, like. Anyway, a couple of days later, or a couple of weeks later, I'm at work, and he phones me up that evening, and he said to me, "Here, Pete," he said in his Yorkshire accent, "I think you better get down here." He's going. He said, "I've just seen some big fish come in today in the swimming pool area." And I said, "Oh, I can't, Rich." I said, I've had too much time off sick as it is. So after I spoke to him, I got the old weather forecast up on the telly, like, and it said it was going to be hot and whatever. And I thought, oh, yeah, right. So next morning I phoned in sick. I've gone down, I met him, and we'd gone round to the swimming pool. And he's walking up one side of the bank. I'm walking up the other, like opposite ways, looking to see if any fish are going to come in. And all of a sudden, we see 4 fish, and they came in. And then I know all we had. I mean, I just had a rod with a controller for floater fishing, like, you know. Right. And he was the same. I see these 4 fish coming, and they come in. And they was coming in towards the pads. There was a lovely bed of pads, lily pads out there, like. And I see them go down, straight down onto the bottom, and come along the bottom. And I thought, they ain't fucking taking floaters. They're going to be taking bottom baits.
Did you try and put any floaters out on them, or not at all?
No, because they was deep.
Right.
So anyway, I said to him, look. I said, they ain't. He said, have you got any boilies in your bag? I said, I'll have a look. Anyway, I don't even remember what it was. I think it was a bird food boilie that I got Richworth to make me, like, you know. Put that on. He said, well, have a go. So I said, yeah, well, I said, how am I going to do it? I said, I'll tell you what. I said, I'll get out onto that fucking bough. There's this branch, tree sort of hanging over, 45 degree, like, you know. So I've crawled along. I'm sitting on it. I lowered my bait down. Of course, it's fucking nowhere near deep enough. So I said, here, pull that controller as up far as you can get it, like, you know. So he pulled it up, and then I lowered it again. And I could see my bait sitting on the bottom, like.
So you've got a side hook boilie.
Yeah.
And you've got a controller that's now well over depth, yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
Lowered it down, and I could see And I had to position it because if you can imagine, you got all the leaves of the tree and everything. So you got dark spots and you got light spots where the sun's shining. And I wanted it in one of the spots where I could see it, like, you know. Anyway, I'm on top of this bough of this tree, lowered it down. He said, they're coming. And I see them come in, and they come round, and they've 4 of them come along. I could see them come along the gravel, and all of a sudden, my line's sort of gone. I thought, so have he taken it or is he not, like, you know? No, I haven't taken it, but they've moved the bait, and it was into a dark spot. And I thought, oh, bloody hell. So I lifted it back up again, put it back into one of these spots so I could see it. He said, they're coming round again. And they're fucking coming. It was like 4 fish just fucking going along the gravel, like, you know. All of a sudden, I see one of them. I mean, I didn't know what fish were what, like, you know.
Yeah, of course.
And one of them's taken, and I gone like that. He said, it looks like I said, I know, I'm in. Fuck, with that, it's fucking screamed off, innit? And I'm sitting on this fucking bar, this branch over this fucking water, like. I've had to lower the fucking tip right down because the branches of the tree were hitting the water. It's gone fucking out into open water. And I thought, well, that's okay. I'll play it out there, like, let it fucking,
expend its energy out there, yeah.
And sure enough, it did. And it's like a seesaw bloody thing. And eventually, I gets it all the way back, and it's on the surface, and then I can't get it any closer because of this branch that's out there, like, you know.
Oh, so it's stuck the other side of this branch?
Yeah, anyway, Skiddy has got me net now. Now, this was me stalking net. It ain't me big net, like, it's a stalking net. He's clambered down the bank, got into the water, and the gravel went, and then it drops right off deep. Yeah. And he's up to here in water, like. He's got me net out as far as he can, and just couldn't. And every time I pulled, you could see the branch going like, and he just couldn't quite reach it. And for some reason, he just said to me, bite the line.
Bite the line?
Bite the line.
Bite your line?
Yeah.
That's got to be the last thing that you're going to do.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I'd thought about it, I wouldn't have done, but he said it and I did it. Fucking, and that fish just dropped down and it fucking went into the net. Unbelievable. How we got it, I'll never know.
Bite the line. I don't know what I'd do if I was looking to something like that and my mate said bite the line.
Yeah.
But are you all right, lad?
Yeah, I mean, fucking.
There's some trust there, mate.
And anyway, he pulled it in, like, and I clambered off. Because at 1 minute I'm thinking, should I jump down, like, into the water? But I can't swim. And I wasn't too sure how deep it was there, like, swim. No. And I thought, no, I ain't jumping down there, like.
Jump to your death, yeah.
Anyway, I got down off the branch onto the bank, like, and we're both trying to. I mean, the bank was like sloping up, like, you know. And we're both trying to get up the bank with this fucking carp. And he said to me in his Yorkshire accent, I think you've beaten your personal best, Pete, like, you know. Anyway, I got up there, and then when we fucking parted in there, I could see it was the one I'd seen at £45. Jesus. I said, that's the fucking fish. Anyway, he went off and got his scours and whatever. And we weighed it up, and it was 45.6. And I was more pleased to think that I was spot on with my weight, you know.
But yeah, actual capture, yeah. What a capture that is, mate.
Yeah, it's just luck,
but some skill there to sort of agriculturally set up that boilie on the bottom when you've just got floater gear with you. That's mental. Absolutely mental.
But it was the way he said, bite the line. And I fucking, without hesitation, I did, like, you know.
Yeah, fair. I don't know what. Yeah, fair play. I can't even put myself in that shoes, but that's immense. You subsequently went on to catch it a couple of other times, but the one, and there's another photo, if you like, is you and Mary's mate, the Richwood T-shirt, the proper carpy sort of scene. That is of like braces. If you could pick two, that's the one, isn't it? Mary and Mary's mate, two of the most famous carp that have ever swam in probably one of the most prestigious venues. Carp fishing, completed it, Pete. Yeah. Completed it all the way back in the day. How did that brace come to be?
Well, again, it was October the year before that I noticed that the wind acted into this little spot, and I cut this little swim out on this it was a little bit of bank sticking out.
Where are you? Give me an area here.
I'm round on the South Lake.
Yeah.
They used to call it No Carp Bay or something. They called it. I don't know.
Welly Road as you come in.
Now you go left past round the school pool, the swimming pool. You're back at near the houses, the new houses. There was no new houses there then.
That's mad. Yeah.
And there was a little island straight out in front of me.
Yeah.
By the yacht club, because that was the yacht club there then.
Wow. Yeah.
And I made this little spot, just get a 45-inch or 50-inch brolly in, like. And I thought, this should be all right for next summer, like, you know. And I tell you, come round to see me, because I done a couple of nights in it in the November, I think it was. And Johnny Holt come walking round.
Yeah, John Holt, yeah.
Anyway, he sat with me and we had a cup of coffee and a chin wag, like. And I said to him, I said, I've made this for next season, like. I said, this is, you know. And anyway, the start of the season came, and I think I was somewhere, and then I got on to Wraysbury, and nobody had been in this spot. And it was July the 4th, I think it was, because that was when I had the first time.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, the wind was right, everything was right, and I decided now's the time to get in there, like, you know. So I've gone in there, and I put one out off this gravel bar off the island. I knew there was a gravel bar running off this little island, and I knew there was another gravel bar between the two islands out.
Right. What sort of range is that?
First one was only for a little
flick. Yeah.
The second one was about 60 yards, 70 yards,
okay.
I suppose. And then I don't know what I'd done with the third rod. Weren't bothered about it. But anyway, I had out there, and then that morning, the one off the island, the close-in one, boom, away, it was gone, and I played it in. And at first, I didn't recognise it as the 45, you know.
Right.
Anyway, I got it in a sack. Half 5 in the morning, that was. And I thought to myself, it's too early to go and get anyone to come round and take photos. So I put the old kettle on and made myself a cup of feeling chuffed, like, you know.
I bet, mate.
And then all of a sudden the other rod's gone. There was like two islands, and then there's a gravel dip, like, and I was right on that. And that was Mary's mate. But at the time, didn't have a name, you know.
Yeah, of course not.
And anyway, I got that in and weighed that up, 37.5. I thought, fucking hell. So then I went round to Johnny Allen and a couple of others that were on there. Phoned Walshy up at Leisure Sports Angling. He got in touch with the Angler's Mail, which I was a bit peeved off about, really. I phoned Skiddy up. Him and Bill Cotton drove all the way down from fucking Yorkshire. Yeah. Wow. Bob Baker came.
Oh, mate, this is the who's coming to this to see this, isn't they?
It was just fucking unbelievable, like, you know. But, yeah. So
what a brace, what a shot as well, mate. The
And the funny thing is, I never ever got to fish that swim again. Never.
Why? Because everybody was in it.
Yeah, Johnny Allen was in it for weeks. Then, if he wasn't in it, well, I just couldn't. I could never get in it. It was just. I even had people turning up saying, "Where's Mary's mate? Where's Mary's point?" Because then they called it Mary's Point. Like,
Mary's Point, I know well.
And then I had the people from the News of the World or Daily Mirror or whatever it was coming down, asking if they could have a word with the bloke who caught this fish that's called Mary, like, because then it
got that big, like national news, yeah.
Yeah, and I went in, because at the time the Perseverance were doing us breakfast on a Sunday, like, so we've gone in for breakfast in the Sunday morning. This is like the week after, or the week, whenever it was. The barman said, "I've just been reading about you in the Sunday supplement," he said. Yeah.
But I'm guessing, like you referenced with the old Angling Times, you didn't really want the publicity around
it. Was the Anglers Mail they come.
Anglers Mail,
yeah.
Sorry.
Well, they took over.
What do you mean?
Well, Graham Parsons, who'd done the buzzers, right? I give him my camera to take a few photos for me, but they got in like prime position, and he could only get one or two shots, like, They just took over from, what I mean, and I thought, and what annoyed me more than anything, they wouldn't even let me have the photos.
They wouldn't let you have the photos?
No. And it wasn't until years later that an editor, obviously the editor changed or something, and he came across them in a drawer, and he sent me them, like,
How can they not let you have the photos?
Yeah, I know.
Wow. Yeah, that's not cricket, is it?
No. But that's the way it was, so.
Your time on Wraysbury, I mean, there's a lot of iconic fish in there. There's cluster, there's loads of iconic fish. Were those fish characters in their own right, or were they very much sort of always, because you've got over 100 acres, you've got 20-odd carp, were there individualisms in all of them? Did you get to a point where you knew where they'd be, or were they a mass?
Well, yeah, you thought you knew where they'd be.
Right.
There was, as you say, cluster. There was malins, what they called malins.
Yeah, there's loads.
But there was some big commons in there that, for some reason, I don't know why they didn't. I think Dave Compstone had one at £34, and I'd seen one the week before, or a few days before, in Sonning Reservoir corner that I thought was a big common.
What are you saying? Big.
Well,
you said big twice.
Near over £40.
Jeez.
And he phoned me up at 6 o'clock in the morning to tell me that he'd caught a big common. Could I go down and photograph it for him? I said, yeah, I'm on my way. Anyway, I got down there, and it was a common. It had a big part on its flank. There was no scales.
Right.
There was a big patch.
Yeah.
And I said, that ain't the one I seen, and that was about £35, something like that. Anyway, took the photos and that. And again, on a Sunday morning, we was in the Percy having breakfast. I was with Richie, Skiddy, and a couple of other people. And a young kiddie come in, said that he'd seen a common dead in Peter Bryant's Bay. So me and Richie went round there, and we found it, and it was the one Compo had, and we buried it, me and him, me and Richie. But yeah, and what I couldn't make out was the fact that when I went on to Wraysbury 2, you could catch the commons in there, all right. And even then, when you sacked them up to take a photograph in the morning, you'd open up the sack and it'd be full of swan mussel shells where they'd been eating the swan mussels, like, And I thought, myself, well, why ain't I catching these commons? Because there was more commons in Wraysbury than I reckon there was mirrors.
Was there?
Yeah.
They just didn't come out much, did they, at all?
No.
Did you see anything? Obviously, you've got the likes of what you've just named there, Malins, Cluster, etc. All those that have come on, they all got named, they all got caught. Did you see anything that never got caught, that is a proper myth, that is a real
only that one I said that
nothing.
When Nick West had a 40 out of on a bit of bread flake, bread crust, there was this other one that
a
I'd
sandy
seen.
one.
Yeah.
What are you putting that out?
I've put it over £50.
Jesus Christ.
And I wasn't the only one to see it, because Colin Swaden saw it.
Yeah,
he went in with him and Booker. He went in diving in there or something. Really.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and he see it, and when he explained to me what it looked like, I said, yeah, that's the one I've seen. Yeah. And he see that in Sunny Means Corner. And where I saw it was by the works, by the old works in the North Lake, But just...
He's got that place, I mean, you said...
But that was the magic of it all then.
Yeah,
you just didn't know what... not like a day where every fish has got a name. You know exactly what's in where, there and everywhere. That's why I said, like last week, I've been on this lake. It could do a fucking monster, you know what I mean? I ain't got names or nothing, so...
I can't even imagine, mate. I go on there now and there is a feel, an atmosphere or something, even though now it is changed and it is in a different form. There's something there, I think, and I'll outwardly say it is my favourite place to fish. Not necessarily because of the stocks of fish. There's some mega fish in there now, and there's still some rogue sort of Redmire commons that don't come out, that are seen ad hoc, and the stockies have grown on. I had a 40 out there this year. They've grown on that much. But there is something atmospheric in that venue that I cannot put my finger on that makes me want to just fish it. I don't know what it is, and you referenced that feeling or that about it. I can't imagine the buzz of catching one of those fish in that vastness of water. In terms of between bites, and I know you caught a few, but how long are you going between catching?
Well, let's put it this way. Me and Kenny, we done a campaign where we was using tiger nuts, and we reckon it was 4 days before we'd get a fucking bite.
4 days?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, mate. I thought you were going to tell me like you're going 4 or 5 months.
Oh, no. This was when we baited up an area, and we did have this was back in this, I don't know what year now, but it was like September time, this time of year.
Yeah.
And we'd bait up heavily with the tiger nuts. In fact, in the end, what I was doing to try and make things happen quicker was, because Kenny even brought down a dartboard, put a dartboard in the tree.
Something to do, yeah.
I was grinding up the nuts and just putting down, and as they were going down, it's like a milky fuck. I said to Ken, they've got to fucking get on this, but it was like, you'd have your bait out there for 4 days, and that 4th day, that was when it'd go, Whether it's because there was too many fucking bait, too much out there or not, I don't know.
But always that 4th day. Yeah. That's mad. But that's still good going on there. Did you have any long periods of nothing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, one season I never had a fish.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So that's more like what I'm thinking.
And that I put down to the fact, because every time I went down there and catapulted me boardies out, I had fucking tench, I had carp rolling over them, fucking you name it. Even Compo said to me, he said, fucking hell, he said, I don't know what you're putting out there, he said, but them fish. And I never had a fucking fish. And I now think that I overdone it with the flavour. The smell was too strong.
Yeah.
It attracted them, but
they weren't having them.
No.
What a place, what a time, mate. That's unbelievable. Why did you Why did you come away from Wraysbury? Because you thought you'd done what you'd done?
Nah, well, yeah, that was one thing. And the other thing was, I mean, apart from when I went back once, after a year, and had Mary again for the last time. Like,
you went back once and had Mary?
Yeah.
As in one trip?
Yeah, one night.
What?
Previous to that, I was having to hide my gear in the fucking bushes if I wanted to go to the shop for a pint of milk. Because kids were cycling round on push bikes, checking you out, checking you with you. And it just got fucking out of hand, like the jippos and that. And I thought myself, what with them taking, I told you about them fucking nicking the boats, the speed boats, and I thought, this is getting ridiculous. Anyway, I pulled off, and I was on Horton, and I wanted to go out on Kingsmead Islands because Dale Smith had given me permission to go out over and fish off the islands on Kingsmead. This was before people could get on there. And I got down there. I got my boat because I left that at Kingsmead, Horton, right? And it was far too windy for me to get across in my little fucking boat. I had a little outboard, but even so. And I thought, fuck it, I can't get out there in this. And it was pissing down with rain, And I thought, nah. And I sat in the lodge for an hour or so, and I thought, no, I got to make up my mind. So I thought about it all, and I thought, fuck me. I'll go to Wraysbury. I know exactly where I want to be. I want to be in Dredger Bay. That wind, that southwesterly is pumping in there like there's no tomorrow. That's where the fish will be. So I thought, right. So jumped in my van, drove round there, drove in, gone straight to the fucking Dredger Point. Fucking pivy up in there. I thought, fuck me.
There was a bit,
I thought, it's a Christ almighty. I thought, nobody else on the fucking lake, and they're in there. I didn't even stop to see who it was or anything. I thought, fuck it. So then I thought, fucking bollocks. I'll go to No Carp Bay. I'll have the wind behind me. I'll be fucking all right there. Just do the night. Fuck off in the morning onto the islands,
Yeah.
So anyway, I drove round to No Carp Bay. I only had a little fucking tent thing. I could only get a little lilo in it because I was going onto the island. I didn't getting all my gear in the boat. Yeah. So I only had. I thought, at least the wind's coming fucking my from behind. So I set up and I just cast one up. Had a feel about with one. Thought that feels clear. That was about 20 yards out. I thought, oh, that's nice. Yeah, boom. Put it out there. Put the other one not far out. Anyway, I done the night. Fucking rain and wind all fucking night. And anyway, I woke up in the morning and I put the kettle on. And I thought, I should have been in that Dredger Bay. Fuck it, I wish I was in that Dredger Bay, Anyway, a bloke come round, and it was not Jock White, bloody hell. He run Cotswolds Baits.
Right.
I forget his name offhand. But anyway, he come round. He said, could you do me a favour? And I caught a fish in the night, and I'd like you to
photograph it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought, fuck it. I knew I said, yeah, sure. So anyway, Jock White. No, was it? No, fuck it. He's not. I can't remember. But anyway, I've gone round there, reeled in, gone round there. Oh, and just before this, I had a coot pick up my bait, right? And I thought, nice. Well, fuck it. If it must be clear for him to find it, Anyway, I've gone round and photographed this fish for him, and it was a £30, whatever it was. And he was telling me about all these fish he had heard in the night crashing out, like, you know, and no waves. There was white caps coming in, like, you know, into the bay. And I thought, fuck it, I knew it should have been there. Yeah, I've gone back, thinking myself, fuck it, I'll pack up now. Anyway, all my gear was soaking wet, like, and I thought to myself, I might as well hang on and let it dry out before I go. Anyway, I managed to pick up my little tent, put it in a spot where the sun was shining to get it dry off, like, and stuck my rods out again. Had a coffee. Anyway, about an hour later, Phil Thompson come walking round the corner, like, hello, Pete, I ain't seen you for a long time. I said, nah, I just come here because I get out. You know, I was going to go into Kingsmead. Just had to get out back of the wind. I thought, get out of the wind, like. So, with that, my rod's gone, fucking grabbed the rod, and straight away I knew it was going to be Mary, like, because it came straight to the surface and started kiting. And it's gone fucking round. It's trying to get into the other bay,
yeah,
like, you know. And he said to me, fucking hell. Anyway, fucking played it. Anyway, he netted it for me. And it was a fucking Mary again, wasn't it? 51.8. And he took the photos and everything for me. And
that is some result, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, I hadn't been there for a year. And that's the very last time I fished it.
Was that the last time you've ever fished it? What a way to go out on it there. Would you go back now?
Well, it ain't got the same appeal, no. I went back, funny enough, I done a charity thing. Keith Jenkins done a thing, competition, and I took a couple of geezers. They fished the North Lake, and I sat on there and I couldn't believe the amount of carp I see crashing out, and I thought, this ain't the same.
No. That's interesting also that, you'd caught her from sort of further along No Carp Bay, and you wanted to be in Dredger as well. There's a lot of sort of weird bait and a lot in there. You could have gone as well, couldn't you? There's a lot in that capture.
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it? You sometimes think that forces are working well beyond what you can actually sort of compute. Did you tend to find that those real big uns were sort of quite loner, like away from the rest of them, or were they not really?
I don't know, it's hard to tell, really.
I suppose.
I mean, there's one cluster.
Yeah.
Cluster or Hoover, I can't remember now. Oh, no, it might have been the Hoover. That, now, before Mary got her name or whatever, Mary's mate and the Hoover, I caught, Mary's mate, I first caught that one at 20-something pounds. You know?
Yeah.
And the first time it had ever been on the bank. Now, that one and the Hoover, obviously, they didn't have names when I fished. If I'd catch two fish in a session, it'd be them two sort of thing. They'd be swimming about together. Like.
Yeah, buddies.
Anyway, the last time the Hoover came out, it was 7 years. It'd gone missing for 7 years, and I thought, it's probably dead. And then all of a sudden, I'm at the back of the off licence. We're packing up to go to the Percy for breakfast, and I put a rod right close in the margins on a little shelf, close in, and I'm packing everything away. Like, and all of a sudden, that rod's gone. And I fucking started playing it, and I could see it, every bit of it as it was fighting, in clear gin water, in deep water, like, seeing how it was turning and fucking everything, like. And that turned out to be the Hoover that had gone missing for 7 years. And I was fucking over the moon to catch that. Yeah, it really meant a lot, because at least I knew it was still alive.
Yeah.
You know? And that was, I forget what weight that was now. 38, 39, something like that.
Mate, that's incredible. I mean, those stories, like, and everything, being on the complex, seeing it in its newest guise, and sort of, thinking back to all that is hairs on your back and your neck stuff, mate. Pete, you referenced there with regards to those Wraysbury fish, a lot of those fish were named subsequently after you've caught them.
Yeah.
Now, you've always been, and I said it before, ahead of the game with regards to those sort of target fish. One fish in particular, that Sonning eye fish.
Yeah.
Right. Now, certain Mr. Colin Davidson, who works for us, who'd spent a bit of time with you when he was in his editorial days working at the mags, he said, I've got to talk to you about the Sonning eye fish. Now, that Sonning eye fish came out of Sonning.
Yep.
And it was mega, it was massive. It was sort of a bit of a bolt out the blue, wasn't it, with regards to that? But the story goes that you'd captured that long before it was known as the Sonning eye.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, funny enough, I'm just trying to think. Oh, yeah. That would be the year, I think it was the year before I caught Mary.
Was it?
Because, I don't know what happened. We were looking for a new water. It was getting a bit, Wraysbury was getting a bit, how can I say, popular.
Mm.
So me and Kenny were looking for a new water. And we heard about, obviously, the lake, Sonning. And we had heard there'd been a fish kill there. Anyway, but again, in the close season, because there was a close season, we decided to go and have a look at it. And we went and had a look. Found out that Reading Angling owned most of the bank, right? Mm. But you weren't allowed to night fish or something like that. It was something ridiculous. And so we went and had a look. And straight away I thought to myself, oh, yeah, this is it, like, you know. I can't remember whether we saw any carp or not, but it appealed. It certainly appealed, like, you know.
What, big expanse?
Yeah, big, yeah. And anyway, we got a Reading ticket and we went and fished on the Reading bank. And because you weren't allowed to night fish, we had to sort of put the brollies down and all that, you know. Fucking make out we had only just got there at dawn and things like this. Anyway, we had a walk round and look round, and they were still working it. Anyway, we see the digger driver, the crane driver, like, had a chat with him, and he said, oh, you can, if you want, he said, you can fish up this bank, like, you know. I thought, fucking hell, yeah. So we decided that that's what we were going to do. So we gave him a bottle of scotch, and we got, because at the time working for Hoover, we could get washing powder and all that. Give him a case of washing powder. Like, he gave us a key to the gate. He said, you'll be here. He said you'll be able to keep an eye on my crane, like, when I'm at night, like, and all this. So it was good. He said, you can come in through this gate here. You can park behind the big mounds of gravel, like, that he'd been digging out. So I thought, oh, yeah, this is...
Result.
And anyway, I couldn't go the first weekend for some reason. Kenny went. And I think Kenny went out onto one of the islands in his little rubber dinghy, like. And I think he fished off the island. Anyway... the following weekend, Kenny said to me, he said, we'll go out on the island. He said, I've had a word with the bloke and the digger. He said, it'd be all right for us to go out on the island, like, blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, all right then. So I've got my little fucking rubber dinghy, and it was a little, like, you'd only fucking just about get me in it with a bit of gear. So, and he's got the outboard motor, like, on his. So we got down there. The crane diver, he said, well, I'm just going to load up the barge.
Okay.
He said, wait until he's out of sight, then go across. Right, okay then. So anyway, he loads up, goes across. We fucking gets in the boat. It took us longer to get out there than what we thought, like, because he's towing me, like, you know. And we just about made it before the barge started coming back. And anyway, and as I'm getting out the bloody boat onto the island, I see a load of sweet corn. I said, fucking hell, Ken. I said, was you fishing here last night? He said, no. I said, what's all this sweet corn in? I said, did you use... He said, no. He said, I didn't use sweet corn last week. So anyway, I said, well, someone's fucking been out here. Anyway, we got onto the island, and as we started exploring the island, because it was quite a big island, right? Come to the centre of the island, it's a big clearing. There's fucking sacks hanging up. There's fucking unhooking mats and all this like this. And see these two geezers. So I said, any good? No. And they was right offish with us.
Yeah.
So tried to make conversation with them, but they just didn't want to know, like. So anyway, I said, come on. I said, we'll go down the other end of the island. So that put me in a bit of, I didn't want to encroach on their, you know. And anyway, we got on the other end of the island, found a couple of little spots. And I thought to myself, in the morning, we'd go off, like, you know. Anyway, I slung a couple of rods out. I said, come on, we'll go up and take them up a beer and see if they're open up, like, you know. So we took them up a beer. One, he just didn't speak at all, like. The other one, we got a little bit of conversation out of him. So I said to Ken, we'll go off in the morning, we'll get off the island and let them, and we'll fish from the bank. So that's what we did. And anyway, we went onto the bank, and I called it the, it was like a chocolate box, fucking all these bars, and there's loads of bars in this big bay, like, you know.
Right.
And I decided on a spot. I thought, right, this will do me. I sort of went out in the boat, had to see a couple of bars. There was so many bars, I didn't know which one to go for. Like, but anyway, I chose one that was directly out in front of me, not that far out. Kenny got in on me left somewhere. Anyway, we fished. I don't think we had anything that first weekend. But anyway, we went back again and parked up, got into the swims. Anyway, I put tiger nuts out of this bar. Anyway, it made me laugh because Kenny wanted to go out towards the island, one of the islands, and he said to me, hold the rod, and I'll take me bait out there and drop it up. I said, yeah, okay, Kim. So this is like an hour before dark.
Okay.
And he's gone out and he spent, I fucking don't know, how long going up and down. And I'm thinking, so fucking hell, when's he going to drop that bait off, like, you know? And he was umming and ahhing, and eventually he fucking dropped it up. Anyway, fucking got back to the bank. Fucking within 5 minutes, he's gone, isn't it? Fucking tench. And I said, Ken, fuck it. So anyway, he said, oh, fuck it. He said, I'll take the rod out with me this time, and I'll fucking. He's gone out again. He's fucking umming and ahhing where to fucking drop it and all that. Anyway, he drops it down. Comes back to the bank. He's gone further than what he thought he was, and he didn't have enough line to get to the bank. So we had to tie extra line on, you know. Anyway, got him. So I thought, fucking hell, I can't be doing all that. At least where I was, I could cast to the bar where I wanted to go, and I cast my baits out. Anyway, next morning, one of these two geezers comes round to see us in the morning, like, you know. Mm-hmm. And so we thought, that's all right. So we put the kettle on, made him a cup of tea, like, sitting there. All of a sudden, my rod's gone. It screamed off. Fucking started playing this fish. And, of course, I didn't know what fish it was going to be.
No.
Fucking hell, it turned out to be this fucking big fucking sodding fish. Fucking 35 pound or whatever it was. Fucking, it's got a big bulging eyes, you know.
Yeah.
And I see his face fucking drop. It was unbelievable, like, you know. And got it in. I said, have you had this one before then? no, he's going like, you know. And I thought, oh, that's fucked it, like, you know. Anyway, Kenny took the photos and whatever, yeah, and he's fucked off, like. So I thought, fucking hell, that's the result, like. And I think Ken might have had a small one. Anyway, we've gone back for another weekend. I think we might have been all right that second weekend, because I remember I had a common, which must have been about £16, £19, something like that. But then we went back again the following weekend, and these two blokes had spoken to one of their mates who was a TWA bailiff at the time, Thames Water Authority bailiff, who was a pike angler, who had been down and fished near us the first weekend when we was fishing off the bank. Got on well with him, like, you know, because he was pike fishing. This time, he's come up to me. He said, right, he said, I want you off this water by the morning. He said, if you ain't off of here by the morning, he said, I'm calling the law. I said, why is that? He said, because you shouldn't be here. I said, well, I've got permission to fish you. No, he said, plus, I'm going to do you for using 3 rods. I said, bloody hell. I said, you're using 4. I said, don't matter. I'm doing you. And he was really aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, he was a big bloke, like. And I thought, oh, fucking hell. So, next thing I knew, Kenny's come round to me. He said, oh, I've had this same bloke. Because Kenny went down there with his rubber dinghy on top of his van, right? Oh, by this time, we'd got to know the people, the sailing club people, and they said we could fish in their compound, off their bank in the compound, right?
Nice.
At night.
Yeah.
No problem. Oh, he weren't having that. He threatened Kenny. Fucking Kenny come round to me. He was nearly in tears, like, you know. So I said, look, Kenny, I said, we ain't going to put up with this. I said, we'll fucking pull off. I said, it ain't worth it, like, you know.
Yeah.
And anyway, that was it. That was the last we fished there.
Until that obviously came out, and then you've gone, hold on, chaps. Yeah. You might have had it, but I've had it a few years previous.
And then a mate of mine, Pete Cranston, who used to fish Redmire and that.
Yeah.
He was fishing Dean's Farm, which was the lake next to it. And he's a bugger because I've known him for years. He'll fish anywhere. If he wants to fish it, he'll fish it.
Yeah.
And a bloke kept chucking him up at Dean's Farm. And in the end, they made him a bailiff on Dean's Farm, because they couldn't get rid of him. Anyway, he started fishing on Sonning after we'd fished there. And he went out onto the island that we went on. And the two blokes weren't there then. And he caught a 50-pounder, right? And his scales bottomed out. And he decided he had some bigger scales in his van, which was on the bank near where we used to park. So he started running back across. He saw a light on in his van, and he thought, oh, shit, I've left my light on, like, you know. He got to the bank, see a geezer up against his van, and then realised that someone was in his van. So he's got the oar, and he's fucking shouted out, and he's running towards him, like, he tripped up, fucking fell over. The two geezers fucked off, like, and when he got to his van, one of them had been in his van, and you know, like the gardener, they used to do a gardener pop-up bivvy, it used to pop up. They had seen this bag in there, opened it up, and the fucking bivvy had popped up. Yeah. But,
mad.
And then he got in, these two blokes, he had an argument with one of them, and he fucking knocked one of them down, like, fucking give them one. And when Laney and the others got on there, they reckoned the same two blokes were fucking...
Were they?
Give them a load of hassle. And then I know someone that went over there and fucking done them with a cattle gun tonight, you know?
Done it with what? A cattle gun?
Yeah, stung, the cattle. And I reckon you could fucking hear him scream a miles, and they've never been back, apparently.
I bet they ain't, mate. That's madness.
But yeah.
You've done some fishing, mate. You reference another place there, which we have to talk about. It's iconic. As iconic as you, mate. Redmire.
Oh, Redmire, yeah.
What a place. What a bit of water. How did you find your way on there?
Fun? How did I get on there?
You've been everywhere, mate.
I tell you what, that was one water I loved. I loved it for the fact that I loved it because of where it was and everything,
Yeah.
But the funny part was I could have got in it a lot earlier if I'd really thought about it, because at the time we used to have our BCSG meetings in Staines. Old Chris Paul used to run them.
Yeah.
At the Cricket Billet. And Tom Mindrum, he used to come to the meetings, and now and again Jack would be there, Jack Hilton.
Yeah, Hilton.
And I said to Tom, I said, how do you get, because I knew 2 or 3 people that fished on Redmire. And I said, how do you get, he said, write to me, boy. And I thought, I ain't that good at writing, so I never did. And it was, I don't know, I think, after I'd had the Yoeveney brace, Richie said to me, I forget, I was talking with Richie anyway, and I said, I'd like to get on that fucking Redmire, get 30 out of there, Anyway, the next thing, I managed to get my name down, put my name down for Redmire, and me and Kenny had been out somewhere in the close season looking at something, and I got a phone call that evening when we got back to my place, and it was Tom Mindrum, and he said to me, do you still want a ticket on Redmire, boy? I said, yeah. He said, it's Tom here. He said, and bring that Kenny Odder with you. He said, you come round with an interview. I said, yeah, okay, Tom, yeah. When? He said, tomorrow night. I said, right, be there. So anyway, by then, Kenny, where he was working, he worked round where Tom lived, and he used to pop in Tom's house for teas and whatever, while he was working. And I thought myself, he's going to get in without a shadow of a doubt, Anyway, we've gone round here, both gone in there, and there was Johnny Carver, Tom Mindrum, and Dave Short. They're all firing questions,
What sort of questions?
Oh, I can't remember now.
Do you not?
I can't. Sort of, if you fished there, or all sorts of things no, I can't. I honestly can't.
No,
remember.
fair play.
And I was dead keen, and obviously came across as dead keen because they fucking obviously twigged on that, because Kenny, he sort of sat back and he weren't saying much, you know what I mean? And I thought, what's the matter with him? Fucking hell, Anyway, as we was going out, they said, we'll let you know, So as we was going out the door, I looked across the road and I see a Mini. And I thought, fucking hell, that's Kevin Maddox's motor. And I said, I reckon that's Kevin Maddox's motor over there. And he said, I don't know whether it is. Nah. Anyway, by the time we got home to my place, the phone rings. Johnny Carver on the phone. He said to me, the good news is, he said, you're in. I said, oh, fucking hell. He said, the bad news is, it's a toss-up between Kenny and Kevin Maddox.
Oh, my God.
I said, you're joking. So anyway, I said, all right, okay then. So I put the phone down. I said to Ken, you didn't come across as if you wanted it. He said, well, to be honest, he said, I'm buying a house, and I really ain't got the money, blah, 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 and all this. I said, now I understand, I said, you should have told him that. And anyway, I thought myself, well, they won't let Kevin Maddox in, but then obviously they did. And then the next thing I knew, Kevin Maddox just phoned me up. because we got both into Redmire, I reckon we're all both going on the same bait. He's going like, you know. I said, yeah, if you want. I said, I don't care. But anyway,
did you go in on the same bait?
we did that first year. Yeah, it was the only year he was in anyway.
Yeah.
But I'd already been warned that if you caught too many fish, or you know, you're out, sort of thing. So I wanted to keep a low profile, like, you know. Anyway, that close season, Tom said to me that he was going down to Redmire and he'd take me and Kenny and show us it. So he said, yeah. So anyway, he took us down. We stopped off at Ashmead,
Ashley Pool.
Ashley,
Yep.
yeah. Had a cup of tea with the bloke who owned that, like. And I couldn't believe how small that lake was.
Yeah.
And then we got to Redmire, and someone said to me, "It's small," like. So I didn't expect it to be big, but it was slightly bigger than what I was expecting.
Was it?
Yeah. And then when we stood on the dam, and fucking Tom said to me, "There's 70 20s in here, boy." And I thought, fucking 70 20s? I thought, fucking hell, be lucky if there's 10 in fucking Wraysbury, like, you know?
You've gone two completely different venues.
And, that was another thing when I was at the interview. They said, you can use 4 rods, but nobody ever does. And I thought, if I can use 4 rods, I'll use 4 rods,
6,
like,
yeah.
you know? And, but no, I loved it. It was, and a lot of the time I was there on my own.
Well,
you know?
yeah. See, everyone that I've interviewed, Yatesy and everyone that I've interviewed has said the same, that it's tended to be very sparsely fished when they've been on it.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, bearing in mind, I had 5 weeks holiday a year, and you could only fish it every 3rd week, because of the rotas, you know. So I used to take a lot of time off sick, time with my holidays and all that. No, and I got on well with the farmer, Farmer Davey, like, and fucking really got on well. Used to repair his fucking hoovers and what have you for him in the cottage.
He'd be well happy, yeah.
Yeah. And
what's the fishing like, mate, in terms of?
I tell you, fucking hell, because we'd gone in with the air rig, and we had a good bait. It was nothing special, like it was cream. Jeff Kemp's cream, but we made it with breadcrumbs and all sorts, so it didn't sink into the silt, like, you know.
Yeah, because it's silty, obviously.
And fucking hell, the fish we had out of there, and I thought myself, this is getting a bit fucking, you know, don't want to. But one geezer got the old jealous monster thing, sort of thing, you know. He fished with Tom down there, and he happened to catch the worst fish in the lake, which was a fish that had a bad mouth, and he said to him, "Look, this is what's happening to the fish." So Tom turned around and said, "Right." He drew a line across the lake, and said, "Right, you're not allowed to fish from like the in willow across to the evening swim down towards the dam. It's out of bounds." So, right. But Kevin, he got in the in willow and he was casting that.
No.
And that's what done it in the end. The next season he was out. But
what did you see in there in terms of, like, obviously there was 20s?
Well, when I went for a meeting in the close season around Dave Short's house, they was all telling me about these big fish they had seen, these fucking big monsters. And I said, well, I've got a pair of salter scales that go up to £110. Were they big enough? And fucking Tom turned around and said, "Are they in a box, boy?" I said, "Yeah, they are." Because I had my mate make me a nice box to put them in. I said, "I'll leave them in the hut, like, you know." And when I got on there, I was up and down the trees and everything. I never saw no monsters. But what I did see was several times you saw 2 fish together in the weed bed, and it looked like one big fish, like, you know.
Right.
And I think that's probably what they were seeing.
Yeah.
But it was. What I liked was the peace and quiet down there.
Yeah.
I mean, I had fucking great tits coming down, sitting on my fingers, eating the nuts, tiger nuts, and I could leave a couple of rods up the shallows when I was fishing further down, and then go stalking up the shallows. You knew no one was going to, nobody come round,
Did it have that sense of magic in the place because of the setting and everything else?
It did. I mean, when I got there, the first night, because Johnny Carver said to me, he said, it's your first trip, you can pick anywhere you want. And I'd seen all the fish in the oaks, under the oaks, so I went in there, but I hadn't even fucking put a line out, and they sort of disappeared, and so that first week, it took a few days for me to sort of start, because I was so pleased to be there, and it wasn't until Thursday, I think it was, and I caught no pecks, is it?
Yeah.
Caught that, and I thought, fucking hell, but then on the way home, I was thinking about it all, and I thought, fuck me, next time I come here, I'm going to fish. If I'm on this bank, I'm going to fish that far bank, because Johnny Carver said to me, you got to get into the swim and wait for them to come in to you. And I thought, fuck me, I could be there a week and they might not come, what I mean? But if I cast across, and that's what I started doing, and I fucking caught a load of fish,
So basically, they didn't like that disturbance, but if you cast into another margin, it's quieter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unreal, mate. You mentioned in that chapter the hair rig. How revolutionary, because you've gone through a stage of making your own baits, free lining, floating crust, side hooking boilies, hair rig. How revolutionary was that?
It was unbelievable. Yeah, it was. Really was. You weren't just getting little bites now, you was getting screaming fucking runs, Yeah, no, it was, yeah.
What did you fish it sort of conventionally, as in tied off the bend of the hook to start with, and then progressed on to sort of whipping it with a no knot, or did you have different variations? How did that all go?
No, he didn't fuck about with different variations or anything in them days.
No,
because it was just, and it wasn't until the second season in Redmire that I got onto the tiger nuts, and I was in Keffords, and there was a big weeping willow tree, and you used to tie it back so you could fish,
Right.
And I was in there, and I'd been up on the shallows. I put a load of tiger nuts out in a little spot out in front of Keffords. That night, they was crashing and rolling all over me bait, and I thought to myself, fucking hell, I can't believe I never had a take, And then I thought about it, I thought, well, fuck me, there was all them tiger nuts. They obviously didn't find mine, on the hook. That's what I was thinking in my mind. So I looked in my bag and I found some green foam. And I thought to myself, fuck me, if I put a bit of green foam underneath the tiger nut, that'll keep it just
above all that.
Just up a little bit, And I showed a couple of guys, Jeff Spooner and Jeff Goy, Dave Goy, who was on my rotor, and they both fell about laughing when I fucking showed them what I was going to do. Fucking hell, the next night, bang, I'm in. How many
did you have in the night?
I can't remember now, but they was fucking, that certainly sorted them out then. Fucking, of course, then I was using them, just popped up a little bit after, and catching them. But yeah, it was fucking, it was good.
Best times? They sound pretty memorable.
I loved it. It was like going on holiday.
Why did that end then, mate? What happened?
It ended because Dietrich, Clive Dietrich, offered them far more money than what we were paying on the. I thought we were paying over the odds anyway.
Yeah,
but
it was a better offer.
Yeah, and plus I personally think the Richardsons, because I got to know the Richardsons quite well. I think they got pissed off with somebody that was on there who they were so pleased to see the swans on the lake, back on the lake nesting, and someone kept fucking getting rid of the nest. And I think
they had enough.
I think that's upset them,
Yeah, understandable. One place we glossed over a little bit before was Horton, mate.
Oh, yeah. Don't talk to me about Horton.
Yeah. Horton and Save are the two places that I wanted to talk about. Horton, not your favourite water, but not also the one that you probably had the most success on, was it? You found it pretty tricky?
Horton, I loved it. I liked it.
Yeah.
First night there, a Tuesday night, midweek, I was doing an overnighter, and I got there, and everyone who was fishing there was up the far end, and I just got in on the bank near the lodge, the bottom bank. Fucking had a 20-odd pounder first night. Vic Gillings packed up. He come down to see me. He said, "Oh, Pete." He said, "Quiet night last night, wasn't it?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "But I've got one in the sack." I said, "Could you do me some photos?" He said, "Fucking hell." He said, "You ain't been here 5 minutes. You caught one." And I thought, "Fucking hell, this is an easy water." This is what I was thinking. Anyway, I've got that all on video, and him in his voice, he's saying all this, And anyway, he took, I don't know whether he took photos or he just took the video. And after that, I never caught a fish. I did catch a few, but it took me ages and ages,
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It was just one of them things.
Bit of a bogey water sort of
Yeah,
thing.
it was really. But there again, that was like in the summer.
Mm.
Then I fished it through the winter, and there was Dave Lane, Keith Jenkins. There was a few of us on there fishing all through the winter, and we was all struggling, And there was a geezer pike fishing, and he come. I'm sitting here. He come and set up where your camera is.
5 foot away from you. Brilliant.
And I thought, you. Anyway, he obviously realised I got the ump, and he said, "The trouble with you is," he says to me, he said, "You're used to fishing on Wraysbury where you got no one around you." I said, "Yeah, you're right there, mate." And so I thought, right, next weekend I'm going as furthest place I can get from this bank, So I went round to Dog Kennel Bay and fished off this point, which they now call Springate's Point.
That's right.
And I thought myself, right, I'm going to go in with the maggots. I thought myself, this is winter time, Anyway, I was piling in the maggots. The fucking tench I caught was unbelievable. My net was frozen to the ground. Fucking everything's frozen, frost, fucking full moon, still catching. One night I had about 20-odd tench.
Jeez.
And what's his name? Del Smith.
Del, yeah.
Yeah, he said, Anyway, I was convinced I was going to get a carp. And I fucking persevered with these fucking maggots. And I think it was Boxing Day or fucking something like that. I fucking had the only carp that fucking rolled over them maggots. So I stayed on another couple of nights, and still didn't get one of the maggots, But, I enjoyed it. And we used to fucking have roast dinner. Dave Lane done a fucking good roast dinner.
Yeah?
We used to go to the lodge in the evening, fucking have a good old roast,
Nice life, mate.
Yeah.
Save, never fished there, did you?
No, never been round it, never looked round it.
Why not?
Well, I could have done if I'd thought about it, because I was offered a ticket on it. Bob Davis was running it in, and he wanted me to have a ticket. and it came up at the same time as Redmire.
Yeah.
And I'd always dreamt about it because I kept all the cuttings that Jack Hilton used to write about Redmire and all that. And I thought, no, I couldn't afford the two. That was the simple reason. Of it.
Yeah.
And so I took Redmire rather than Savay. And then a few years ago, I bumped into that Tom Banks.
Oh, yeah.
One of the shows. Sat drinking with him till about 3 o'clock in the morning. Said to him, I'd like to have a look round, Savay.
Yeah.
I said, I just want to have a look round. So he sent me a fucking form to buy £100 day ticket, season ticket. And all I wanted to do was look at the fucking lake. And I thought, oh, gee. So, no, I've never been round there. But if I had a word with Dougal years ago, because he was on a bailiff on there, I could have fucking gone round and looked at it and all
the
that.
infamous Dougal, mate.
But, yeah.
Unbelievable, mate. You referenced there the sort of, the hair rig, how that revolutionised angling. You've done a lot of angling over a long period of time on some of the very best venues that there ever has been at their peak. I know you've got some pretty interesting insights with regards to floater fishing.
Oh yeah.
And the concept of braid, mate, and reel lines, yeah?
Yeah.
Talk to me about all this, because this is a bit like you've got an unbelievable wealth of experience, and it's good to sort of glean that. But what you've come to conclusions over a period of time on these things, that's fascinating. Mate.
I just think it's common sense, but there you go. That's just me. But it's funny because we was talking on the way up here about what's his name? Kerry in Bellinger. He's a good angler. He's really
good.
And I was chatting to him at Calder, and I'd had a few fish out on the old on the floaters, like, and I became aware years ago that nylon, when you got that on the surface, the line, the sun on it glints, and I'm convinced the fish can see that fucking line on the surface, you know?
Even like the thinnest of like...
Yeah. Because the sun, it reflects the sun sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so I sort of proved to myself by using braid years ago that I was getting more success using the braid because it don't reflect the light or anything. And plus the fact they probably just think it's a bit of weed anyway. And so I was telling Kerry about this, and he started and he thinks the same way as me now. Like, you know.
So you've got braided reel line, braided hook length. Yeah. What sort of breaking strain, braid hook length have you got?
I did use £15.
Yeah.
Herculean line.
Yeah.
Which is just like a bit of grass, you know.
What's the fight like on that, mate? It must be crazy. There's no stretching that, is there?
No, but
all right with light hook, like small hooks and stuff.
Yeah, well, I use little size 10 mixer hooks, like, you know.
Do you?
And I've had so many fish, fucking hell. I mean, I've had fish up for £39 on the braid.
Wow.
But it's I've got a little rod that I bought for £15 at one of the shows, right? It's a 4-piece little travel rod, NGT, and I've had more carp on that off the surface than any other rod.
Yeah.
Rick Gardner gave me a rod donkeys years ago, a lovely through action rod. And as soon as I picked it up, I thought, fucking hell, this would be good for floater fishing, like this is back in the day. And I used it for years until I broke the top section. But then I've got this little travel route, and I like that. It's fucking lovely. I can't cast very far with it.
Yeah.
But for close in work, it's fucking lovely. And, well, I was doing a work party at Calder early March.
This is Calder Lake, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was chatting with Dave Ball, my mate. And I said to him, fucking hell, the sun was out, it was lovely. I said, cool, it'd be a good day to catch him up the top today. He said, won't catch nothing, too early. I said, all right. So I went back home. Next morning, I've gone to Patching Pond, which was up the road from me. Gone out there, caught 3 off the top. So I phoned him up. I said, too early? I said, I just have 3 today, And I decided then that I'd try and catch one every month through the year.
Through the year off the top.
And I went all the way through until January. And the couple of lakes that I was fishing froze over. And there was I've gone up there and there was a hole in the ice up against this reed bed about 20 yards out. And I looked at the ice and it was like cat ice. And I thought, fucking hell, if I hook one, that'd just fucking break and I'll get it. So there was a couple of blokes fishing on the other lake. And I told them what I was going to do and they just fucking laughed at me.
Yeah, you'd think no chance.
Anyway, I catapulted out some mixers and they went fucking everywhere. Some of them went in the hole in the ice, some of them didn't. But I started seeing these fucking carp come up, taking them, And I thought, fucking hell. So I went back and got me rod. By the time I got back, there was fucking robins, there was fucking blackbirds, there was fucking crows, all on the ice, walking on the ice, picking up the mixers that had gone fucking everywhere. Anyway, I cast out and I can't remember. I got a feeling I hooked one and lost it. It came off. But anyway, I cast and trying to get a 3-line mixer into a hole in the ice.
Oh, this is 3-line. You ain't got a controller.
No. It took a couple of 2 or 3 casts to get it into the fucking hole. Like. Anyway, by this time, because January, the light's fading in it quick. And anyway, I've cast it out there and I'm sure I hooked one and it came off and I was fucking gutted like. But what I did notice, I could see carp under the ice and they could see the mixers on the ice and were fucking trying to get the mixers up from under the ice. Like. So I thought, fucking hell, I'm going back there tomorrow, fucking hell. So when I got home the next morning, I knocked up a little rake out of wood, right, with 6-inch nails in it. Thought to myself, that if the ice is still there, I'll be able to fucking pull it back and break the ice because it's going to float, like,
Yeah.
So I thought, right, this is all fucking, I've planned it all now, ain't I? So I've gone back and the blokes were fishing the other lake under the tree line because the ice hadn't formed or they had broken the ice and they were float fishing. They was matchmen, like,
Yeah.
sort of doing that. And I come round, had a look at my hole, and the hole was still there, but the ice had formed a bit more, like, Anyway, I fired out a load of mixers into the fucking hole in the ice, and I've gone round, had a cup of coffee with them, and I told them what I was planning on doing, and they fucking fell about laughing, like, Anyway, I've gone back. Oh, yeah. Before I put the mixers in, I've fucking thrown me fucking rake out to try and break the ice up. Got it out there, fucking pulled it, broke a little bit, and it's come float onto the ice. And so I've thrown it out again, and it's come back onto the ice. About a third fucking throw, the knots come undone. The fucking rake's fucking what I thought it would float. It didn't. It sunk. And I thought, oh fucking hell. And I thought, oh, well, that's fucked it right up. I probably fucking frightened any fish that were there anyway. So I thought to myself, right, I'll put some mixers out there anyway. So I put out a couple of pouchfuls of mixers, gone round to them, had a cup of coffee with them, told them what had happened, and they're fucking laughing their fucking heads up. Like, anyway, I've taken a walk back to this hole, and when I looked, fucking there was Carp fucking taking the mixers, and I fucking hell. So I've run back to my car, got me rod, gone back there again. By this time, the other geezers are packing up, right? I could see them take their gear back to their car, like, and then they started walking round the lake, and I thought, oh, they're going to come round and see me. And I thought, fucking be lovely if I could get one while they come round. Anyway, I think I missed the first take, so I've got it back out there again. And next thing I know, fucking one's taken in it. And they're just coming along the bank I'm on now. So I shouted at her, I said, Alan, quick. He's fucking come running up. I said, grab me fucking net, break the ice for me. And I'm fucking playing this fish. And he's fucking breaking the ice. Like, and fucking eventually he lands it. Fucking big chunks of ice in the fucking net with the fish. Like, yeah. They fucking couldn't believe it.
So you did it every single month for a year?
Yeah.
Fish off the top?
But the hardest month,
go on.
That was January. The hardest month was February that year.
Really?
I went all the way through February until about 2 days to go. And I've gone up the lake and the same geezers were fishing. And I walked round and round and round, not seeing a fish, like. And all of a sudden, I'm walking along, and one rolled, just by my feet, like. I thought, fucking hell, this. So I put some mixers in, just stood back, and I see one just slowly come up and take it. And so I thought, right, I'll go back to my car and get my rod. So I've gone back to my car, got my rod and that. And there was another guy, just turned up. And he was loading up his barrow like he was going to do tonight. He said, you caught your fish at the top? I said, no, but I'm just about to, like, you know. And I've got back round here, like, and I put a few mixes in. And then all of a sudden, I see him barrowing his gear, and he's coming round. I'm in, and he could see me in, like, and my net was behind me, and it was caught up in the brambles. Ugh. Oh, fucking hell, like. Anyway, he's dropped his barrow, like, come running round, grabbed my net for me, fucking landed. And that was me fucking 12 months, like. Jeez. And then about an hour later, I caught another one, like. But, yeah, so I'd done it for 12 months, and then I carried on. And it ended up, I'd done 12 years, 1 month. And I thought,
you'd done what?
Yeah, 12 years, 1 month, that was. And
12 years, 1 month, one every month off the top.
Yeah, and
what's right? Whoa!
It was just started off as something, a little challenge to myself.
That's mental.
And then I kept it going, but I found in the end it was getting to the stage where I was every month at the first of the month I'm thinking about I've got to go out and get one off the top.
Yeah,
and it was. Whereas if I wanted to go and do this or I wanted to do, that took more,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And so in the end, as I say, I got to 12 years, 1 month, and then we got my boat out of the river, fucking put 3 holes in the bottom of the boat, so I had to fucking and I thought, nah, it's time to back that in now, like, you know. But I learned a lot, fucking,
do you think that's underused? I wouldn't. I mean, I've got the floater gear, especially if there's like that crisp sort of high pressure weather that you'd think would be text, but there might be an opportunity. But I don't go at it with any sort of conviction in the
No, see, this is where you've got to. I used to go out. All I'd take was my mixers and my rod. If you take other gear, you ain't going to be doing it.
No,
you know what I mean? And that's why I think I succeeded because of that. Plus the fact, I mean, one time I was on the lake and I could see these fish. They was, as I said to you, there's like a tree line, or there was a tree line, and where the ice formed, it didn't form under this tree line along the whole bank, and it was gin clear. and I'm walking along there. All of a sudden, I see quite a number of fish, but they was all like mid-water.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't have a rod with me. I wasn't fishing for them or nothing, but I was just watching them. But I had some mixers, so I put some mixers out on the top. And it took them ages before one slowly came to the surface. Took one mixer, went back down to where he was, and then spat it out. And that happened several times with a lot of them. And I reckon the reason I think what happened was that they could see the mixers, they wanted them, but because the water temperature was so cold, they couldn't digest them or whatever, like, you know. But I can't remember how many times that happened. I mean,
how long are you saying between seeing them there, putting the mixers out, to them coming out?
Oh, quite a time.
Is it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the way they rose up to the surface was so slow as well, like, you know. And then they just take that one mix. No fucking nothing like that. Just a gentle, took it slowly back down again. And then they get to the same fucking level that they were, and then to pop up again, like the mixer pop up to the surface. And I thought myself, well, at least you'd be able to hook one, like, you know what I mean?
That's all you need, isn't it?
Yeah. But I wasn't fishing that day for them, but it was interesting to just watch them, seeing their reaction like that, like, you know.
Do you think you catch more like off the top in the winter if you actually go at it like you say, sort of with that tactic in mind? Because a lot of the times, like nowadays, the winter time, you might fish some zigs because they might be sitting in a thermocline and you think, I'll put something in its face.
What I found, and I'll be honest with you, the time to catch them in the winter is mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
If the sun's out. The sun's got to be out.
Bit of warmth, yeah.
It just warms them up, the upper layer up, like, you know, and that's when I've caught most of them.
You said mixers all year round.
Yeah.
You just standard mixers? Nothing?
Oh, yeah.
Nothing fancy in it?
I have tried doing all sorts with them, like, but I found straight out the bag, like, you know.
And what about hook baits? Do you make your own or are you not?
I have done. I've used different them rubber mixers, enterprise mixers and all that. I've had plenty of fish on them, but after a time they wise up to them, like, you know. My mate Johnny Perkins, funny enough, he got a job for delivering to Pets R Us or something, one company like that. Okay. And he gave me a bag. He said, try these. I'll tell you what, they're a little like a mixer, but they're very oily. And they stay on the hook for quite a time, like, and they keep the hook up. And I've just run out of them all that they give me. And I never found out. I didn't ask him who made them. I've never seen anything like them before or since, like, you know. But I've just made up some of my own by grinding up mixers and then making them, because the normal mixers now are too small. They don't hold the hook up long enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've just made my own little mixers, just enough to
keep the hook up.
Yeah, and they stay up. I have to drill them and I can band them on. Then
what about how your actual hooking arrangement? You said you banded them on there, so they're on a hair, are they?
No, let's just band on the back of
Yeah, so okay.
Yeah.
Happy days.
But obviously the rubber ones, I just put the hook through them, like, you know.
Yeah.
Just nick them and
And braid wise, is a hook length, no mouth damage, no issues with regards to any of that.
Never had a problem with them.
Happy days. That's definitely different, isn't it? Yeah. But it's definitely different catching a carp off the top every month of the year for 12 years in 1 month. That's absolutely crazy. Yeah. Do you think the same rules, and you talked about the braid and the glint and this element of monos glinting and catching?
Yeah, I reckon a lot of it, if people say, oh, you can't see that line in the water, you might not be able to see it, but the fish can, you know.
So would you reckon braid there as a main line would be?
No, I'm not, I like braid. Because what I like about it, it don't fucking shoot off the spool all the time. You know, don't get that springy.
Yeah.
But Yeah, no, it's just something.
I like it. What about modern day angling, mate? For you, you're still doing it now, which is absolutely brilliant. We talked before about your angling, and you've got the same enthusiasm, passion, and drive that you had.
No, I don't know whether I have.
You do, mate. I, honestly, and I said this. I said if I had a quarter of the sort of passion. When I'd never do what you've done, but you know what I mean? When I've done that many years collective angling, I'd be incredibly happy with that. But Matt, you're still doing it. And on a weekly. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll just go out and enjoy myself. But I haven't, let me put it this way. I've never been one to go after named fish.
Yeah.
And unless I find the water, like apart from the one I just come back from, I don't target the big fish anymore, whereas once before I would have done. If I'd gone on a lake or found a lake that had a fucking monster in, I'd be on there, like, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I would if I found one that nobody's after or don't know nothing about. But nowadays, I just go out and enjoy me fishing and enjoy what's around me, like, you know. I'd sooner go on the water where there's only one person or two people. I ain't one of crowds, you know.
You got it on your terms, didn't you, mate? Basically,
Yeah.
That's what you want. You obviously, your book, New Moon Rising, you went into the sort of writing side of stuff, and I think it's probably 10 years ago plus. You've definitely got to do another book, mate. But we'll talk about that in due course. Yeah. The whole media side, obviously, for you, writing the book, did you find that an easy thing to do?
No, I'm useless at writing. The only reason it came about was because Rob Malin done one, Carp Legends or something.
Yeah.
And I weren't that keen on it, to be honest with you. And I thought, right, if I do one, I want it to do it the way I want it.
Yeah.
And Keith Jenkins approached me and said, and I thought, yeah, all right, I'll do that, like, you know. So
book number 4, sorry, mate, would it happen?
It might do. I caught some decent fish since I've done the last one, I must admit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's a fair period of time, isn't it, mate? I bet you caught a few decent ones.
I'm just going to have a sip of coffee.
Yeah, you got coffee away, mate. The modern day scene, how much do you sort of keep up to date with what's going on fishing wise now? I know you said before that the whole named fish sort of scene isn't you, but the expansion of the industry, the way things have changed over the course of your time in angling,
unbelievable now, isn't it? I mean, bloody hell, it's just mind-boggling. But I wouldn't like to come into it now.
Would you not?
Nah, it's
too much.
I don't know. I really don't know. Funny enough, I was talking to Richie the other day.
Yeah, because he's on Norton, isn't he? He's basically he's fishing on there when he fishes, isn't he?
Yeah. I was chatting to him the other day, and he said he can't get his head round all this. I said, yeah, I know what you mean, Rich. He said, these carp are different to what the carp we were fishing 4 years ago.
He catches them, though, doesn't he, mate? He's had a few.
Yeah.
Proper angling. Maybe it's time for a cheeky social with Rich, mate. Go back up there.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I said to him, But
that'd be fat, mate. You could do that as an auction. It'd be millions of pounds, mate. Somebody would bid for that. You'd be done. You'd be on a yacht fishing for like tarpon or something. Yeah. Pete, honestly, I cannot thank you enough for coming in. It genuinely has been an absolute honour and privilege to be able to not only sit down with you and chat before this, but to interview you on a podcast, mate. Because as I said in the previous thing, without your influence, your passion, your drive, and you really going out there and creating it, the industry definitely would not be what it is now. And even though you might not have an official sir, you deserve an official sir in carping terms, mate. So thank you very much.
Ah, you're welcome.
Before you go,
yep.
I've got some quick fire questions for you, mate.
Oh, right.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Right. You can take some time if you want, but you don't need to. You can answer them very quickly. Favourite venue, favourite era, and favourite carp? Well, that's a tricky one to start things off.
Favourite venue, if if I say the favourite venue was Redmire at the time.
Yeah. Favourite era?
Would be around that era.
Yeah.
Because it was just...
Magical.
Yeah, it was.
Carp?
Favourite carp would probably... I was going to say Mary, but probably the Yoeveney carp.
Special then.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd have taken either Mary or Yoeveney fish, mate. 3 anglers you'd take on a social right now. They can be past or present.
Rod Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Fish with Rod.
Character.
He's a diamond. How many did you say?
3, mate. You've got Rod at the moment.
Richie.
Yeah.
He's a good
What
character.
a social this is, mate. This is incredible.
Yeah. And I've never fished with Jack Hilton, but I'd like to have done.
That is Carp.
And Bill Quillen.
Yeah, you've had a bonus one. You can have a bonus one, mate. That's all right. That is, pretty high regarded social. Your biggest regret?
Not fishing Savo.
Yeah. This is a Nash one. Music-wise, drum and bass or country and western? What are you picking?
Drum and bass.
Incredible. What would be your version of carp fishing hell?
Carp fishing hell. Fishing with about 100 other fucking other carp anglers on the same water.
Fair play. Proudest moment so far?
Probably catching the Yoeveney fish.
Yeah.
Because it's just an unknown quantity then.
Fish 20 years in the past or 20 years in the future?
If I could get another 20 years, I'd be happy, yeah.
Take the future, mate. That's a good one. Bring back the close season or keep it as it is now with no close season?
I'd keep it as it is now, but I'd keep the close season on the rivers.
Yeah, okay. Nice. UK unknown 60-pounder from a lake or a 40-pounder from the river?
40-pounder from the river.
Proper fishing. Right, mate, last question. Night out on the bank or a night in with the missus?
And on the bank every time.